Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. With the country facing an education crisis, the President orders the Education Department to go full throttle on the National Learning Recovery Program. But recent funding setbacks have made the agency's tasks more difficult and uncertain. Among them, the massive budget cuts imposed by Congress and the decision of the United States to suspend international aid. But with fresh commitment from the President and support from other organizations like the EDCOM too, the DepEd is working doubly hard to improve quality and access to education in the country. Let's get on point with Education Assistant Secretary Roger Masapol. ASEC Masapol, good evening. Welcome to the show.
Hi, good evening, Pinky.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you for having me.
All right, it just came out in the news that the DepEd is supposedly probing about 12 private schools across 9 regions. This has something to do with the voucher program, sir?
Yeah, it has come to our attention, but right now DepEd is conducting an investigation for this. So we will get back to you if once the result is already available.
Opo. Pero ASEC, ito po yung sa voucher program, hindi ba?
Voucher?
The Senior High School Voucher Program.
Yes.
Just for context, sir, I know that you're saying that it's under investigation. What came out in the news is that supposedly there were 12 private schools involved in what is being called as ghost students. Ibig sabihin, para bang, well, let's talk about the voucher program first. So, the government allows these voucher programs to senior high school students to move from the public schools to private schools.
That's correct.
Under a voucher program.
That's correct.
Kumbaga binabayaran po ng gobyerno yung kanilang senior high school.
Essentially, they are our scholars.
Opo.
Yeah.
And it has come to the attention of the DepEd that there seems to be a problem with this. I read an article wherein Secretary Angara was saying that it might be a little hard to monitor this, but there has to be ways rather to be able to look into this.
Yeah, I think we can monitor because our system, the learner information system, we assign a unique learner reference number for every student. So dapat walang duplication of learner, no? But medyo nagulat din kami bakit mayroong mga ganitong, mga unscrupulous na nangyayari. So insidente. So ibig sabihin, we need to step up and find ways to closely monitor the voucher program.
You know, ASEC, I was looking into this issue, and I believe it was the COA way back, I think 2016 or 2017, that they already came up with this problem on supposedly ghost students. But let's respect that. Okay, it's under investigation. You will be giving us more information, or possibly the Secretary, as soon as the information becomes available. Let's talk about first the budget, sir, of the DepEd. So now it is at 737 billion pesos for the year 2025.
Yes.
Down from the original, I believe, 748 billion. So that's about an 11 billion cut.
Yep.
Would that be accurate? Yep. But because of this cut, there are certain sectors or items or people actually in the DepEd that will be affected. Number 1, there will be a cut in new school personnel. Number 2, basic education facility. And number 3, computerization program. Sir, ASEC, pag-usapan po muna natin itong new school personnel. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Wala pong magkukulang po ng pondo para sa pag-hire ng mga bagong guro?
Mababawasan lang po yung numero ng mga i-hire natin. Pero mayroon pa rin po tayong provision for teachers and non-teaching personnel. So medyo yung gusto nating i-hire na number, medyo natapyasan lang po ng konti.
Would you know the number, sir, kung ilan ang natapyas?
Right now,
Okay.
I can give
That's fine, sir. And ano po ang basic education facility? Are these school buildings, classrooms?
These are classrooms na kailangan nating i-build para mabawasan yung ating shortages. No? So, nabawasan din po ng konti yung ating classrooms. budget for classrooms.
Dahil dito sa pagtapyas sa budget
Pagtapyas.
ng Education, Department of Education. And last is the computerization program. This was much talked about because it was back then when the budget was being discussed na I think Secretary Sonny even appealed na ibalik sana itong tinatawag na digitalization or computerization. So this is also going to be affected by the budget cut.
Yes, yung cut medyo malaki yung napunta dyan sa computerization. Medyo nakakalungkot because one of the priority of Sec Angara is digitalization. So, kaya nga, we are also appreciative of the President kasi nag-promise siya na hahanapan ng paraan para mapunuan yung mga natapyas sa ating budget ng DepEd, especially sa digitalization.
Even Budget Secretary Pangandaman was also saying that they are looking at tapping into possibly unprogrammed funds to hopefully bridge the gap dito sa natanggal na pera sa digitalization. But in spite of that, there is a distribution forthcoming of about 62,000 di ho ba, laptops and is it smart TVs across the country?
Po, package po ito eh. May smart TV, may laptops sa mga schools natin. So, pero of course hindi pa nga ito sapat na mapunuan yung mga pagkukulang sa atin sa mga schools natin, but kailangan nating punuan yung mga pagkukulang. So, sinabi ko na kanina, yung tapyas ay may impact talaga ito doon sa ating digitalization program, pero hinahanapan natin ng paraan.
The 62,000, when is the distribution, sir, and where?
Hopefully, this should happen before or during the school year 2025-2026. So, mayroon po tayong distribution list, especially itong mga hindi pa nabigyan ng mga schools natin. So, mayroon pong, ang DepEd po, mayroon po tayong prioritization policy kung saan pinaprioritize natin yung mga nangailangan pa at yung mga nabigyan noon na medyo luma na. So, yun po yung ating...
Obviously, there's a database for that.
Mayroon po.
I can imagine. What about the status on the comprehensive sexual education, sir? Is that something you can... Is it on hold? Is it being reviewed? What is it?
It is not on hold, but it's being reviewed. So, hopefully, before the start of school year 2025 and 2026, mailabas po natin yung bagong or revised guidelines on CSE.
So, it's not on hold? So, ibig sabihin, tinuturo pa rin?
Patapos na po ang school year eh. So, kumbaga, wala nang gaanong effect yung usapin. Pero may order na po na i-revise or i-review and for possible revision. And hopefully, maipasa siya or mapirmahan before the school year starts.
Hopefully, yes.
2025, 2026.
Who is reviewing this? Which department?
Nag-create po ng TWG sa DepEd that
Technical Working Group?
Technical Working Group composed of our curriculum group and then our health and nutrition group and also planning service.
And this will be in accordance to what? Ano po yung standard, would you know, na gagamitin in its review of the comprehensive sexual education?
Mayroon pong batas eh. So doon po magbabase yung review at yung pag-revise doon sa CSE policy ng DepEd.
This is the Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Law.
Opo.
That, yan po yung
Yan
sinasabi.
po yung magiging basihan noong, largely yung basihan ng revision ng
And I
policy.
guess, ASEC, it's gonna be clear na kung sino at kailan at ano ang ituturo sa mga bata.
Malinaw naman po eh. So palilinawan pa namin. So mukhang mayroong konting kailangang ayusin doon sa current na policy para lang napakinggan na natin yung side ng mga nagbabatikos at side ng parents. May malawak po yung consultation na ginagawa ng DepEd ngayon for the revision.
I just don't know, sir, if it was clear. Because during a hearing where Senator Win Gatchalian was there and some DepEd officials, there was a DepEd official who admitted that it's a little confusing. In fact, Senator Win said, kung kayo dyan sa taas ay, not in these words, exact words, there's confusion up there, mas lalong magkakaroon ng confusion sa ilalim. That was a revelation made by a DepEd official. That's why they were asking it to be suspended.
And I think that's the trigger of the order of the Secretary to review and revise the the policy.
Matatag curriculum. How's that coming along? Because it was supposed to be in phases, hindi ho ba? I spoke to EDCOM to Smart yesterday po. And he was telling me that this coming year, it will be, hindi na po siya pilot, it will be taught
Full blast na po
full
yun.
blast na po this coming,
K to 10, opo.
But it's K
To 10.
to 10. So lahat po yan, yung matatag curriculum, will be taught already nationwide
Yes po.
this coming school year. How has it been so far, would you know, at least in terms of the outcome at tulong po? Because it basically, kinontian po niya yung subjects na itinuturo from kinder to grade 3 ata yung first pilot, no?
Opo. Kaka-roll out lang natin last school year, no? So parang wala pa tayong makitang outcome yan. Pero right now, ako yung back chair ng ng textbook. So we are ensuring na by the start of school year 2025-2026, yung grades 2, grade 5 and grade 8 ay magkakaroon ng textbook sa kanilang classroom.
Okay.
And then hindi lang textbook yun, yung iba pang mga kailangan learning materials na kakailangan din ng bata for grades 2, grade 5, and grade 8. Kasi yung last year po, yung mga other grade level naman po yung na-implement natin.
So 1, 3, 7. Tama ho ba?
Opo.
1, 3, and 7 last year. And then this year,
2, 5, and 8.
2, 5, and 8. So
And then the rest,
it was also an issue on textbooks sa matatag.
Hindi naman po kasi malinaw naman po yung mga curriculum guides session guides at yun naman pinagbasihan ng pag-develop ng mga textbook natin.
But it was also about decongesting, hindi ho ba, the subjects, the many subjects that the students were forced to learn at a particular period of time, hindi ho ba?
Actually po yung binawasan is not the subject but the competencies.
Correct.
Na very loaded nung nakaraan. So under the matatag curriculum ay binawasan po yung mga competencies na kailangan matutunan ng bata by grade level.
Right. Yeah. So ibig sabihin, they will be able to concentrate on less competencies as compared to the past.
Essential competencies po. So nag-prioritize po tayo, nag-focus doon sa mga essential competencies na kailangan ng bata for the next grade level.
All right. We'll be taking a very short break. More of our discussion with ASEC Roger Masapol in a moment. Stay tuned. This is On Point.
Ito po si Father Nono.
Ako po si Father Fiel Pareha.
Ako si Risa Singson Kaupeng.
Kape at pandasal na po tayo. Ito po si Cardinal Chito Tagte.
Welcome back. You're watching On Point. Still with us, DepEd Assistant Secretary Roger Masapol. During the break, we were talking about what will happen, di ho ba, sa senior high school under this matatag curriculum. Tell us again, sir.
Yeah, so under review yung matatag curriculum grades 11 and 12 right now. So we are aiming to implement the new curriculum for senior high school this coming school year, 2025-2026. So yung tanong mo kanina, ano yung mga pagbabago doon sa senior high school? Well, so mababawasan yung mga subject. Ito yung mababawasan yung subject, not the competencies. So the last time na nag-present yung aming curriculum group, parang 5 lang yung magiging subjects na core. Tapos marami lang siyang pagpipilian ng mga electives. Depende sa kung ano yung gusto ng bata.
Interest ng
bata.
Okay. So if they have 5 subjects, how many electives can they take or should they take? May ganun ho ba?
Baka Pwedeng tatlo na electives.
Kaya pang tatlo?
Oo, kaya pa. Oo.
And depende na po yun sa gusto nila. Para that basically leads them to the kind of training or elective they want or interest nila.
That's correct.
Moving forward.
For example, kung ang bata ang interest niya is about cooking. So sa mga electives na yun, imamatch na yung interest niya doon sa available man na mga electives.
And compared to before, ano ho ba dati?
Walo
o
po
yung
eh.
ngayon? 8 subjects?
Walo po yung marami po. walo yung natatandaan ko yung walo yung kailangan
Yung
mong
core subjects.
bunuin na subjects.
So now it's just 5. All right, and hopefully that happens this coming school year 2025. Sir, let's talk about USAID. Do we have an idea? Do you have an idea, or can you tell us, number one, how much will be lost because of this cut by the U.S. government or the U.S. president?
Just for context, Pinky, overall, yung portfolio ng USAID for basic education is $94.02 million.
$94.7 million.
94.02.
02.
Pero just to clarify, isa dyan sa pinakamalaking programa ay nagtapos na. Itong for support for ALS, which is $35.2 million. And then, yung isa, about to take off pa lang yung Urban Connect. Tapos yung dalawa is ongoing. So, nung kinumpit namin, magkano na lang ba yung natitirang budget na pinopondohan ng US government? Dito sa dalawang ongoing, ito yung Advancing Education, Basic Education Philippines, yung ABC Plus, which is, ang sinusuportan nito, ito yung mga foundational learning, yung kinder to 3. So, focus sila sa reading. Kasi one of the major problem ng DepEd ngayon is on reading.
Tama.
So, bali po, ang natitira na lang na out of the...
Let me cut you, sir. Sabi mo kasi yung isa, support sa ALS, 35.2 million. Tapos na po yan.
Tapos na po yan.
So let's set that aside.
Apo.
Okay. This is still part of the $94 million.
That's correct.
I know it's 0.02. Let's just put it at 94. Ito pong two ongoing. Sabi niyo itong Advanced Education Philippines, K-3. Ito po yung reading.
Opo.
Ongoing po ito.
Ongoing siya, pero nasa 6... Yung remaining budget na lang out of 47 million is nasa 6.9 million na lang. Ang natitira na gagastusin. So, medyo nasa ano na siya eh, nasa 79% na yung completion, utilization.
Okay.
Oo.
But you said there's another one kasi two
The other
ongoing.
one is the strengthening inclusive education for the blind and deaf children. Ito yung sa mga learners with special needs, no? So, ang budget niya is nasa $3.4 million. So, ang remaining na lang is nasa 627,000 US dollars. So,
Okay.
total po ay if we compute yung remaining na lang is nasa $11.8 million na lang po yung tumatakbong budget ng support ng USAID.
Ibig sabihin, yung pong $11 million supposed to be na support, hindi na po natin makukuha yan.
Hindi na po.
Is that correct?
Hindi na po.
So, kumbaga, deficient tayo ng $11 million.
Opo.
From the $94 million, because of the Trump administration and their policy, hindi na po tayo makakakuha ng $11 million. Did I get that right, sir?
Yes po.
Okay.
But, I don't know, pero sabi naman ng US government, 90 days lang naman yung halt na yun habang pinag-aaralan. So, we are still hoping na
Yes, maibalik.
magbabago pa yung decision. No?
But ASEC, sabihin po natin, on hold nga po ito na 90 days, sabihin po natin, we don't know the status, whether ibalik, ibigay o hindi. But is this on a yearly basis, itong 94.02 million?
Ay, hindi po. Total po ito. Pero, distributed siya yearly. Kasi, for example, itong ABC Plus, magtatapos ito ng 2026. Itong sa reading. Itong sa, sa gabay, ito sa blind, magtatapos siya by 2026 din. So
But
distributed
that amount that is allotted for the deaf and the blind, at yung sa reading, that amount should last until 2026.
Yep,
Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And with that, may deficiency nga kung hindi po maibigay yung
Yes po.
USAID.
Yes, apparently ganun.
So kung hindi po maibigay yon, saan po natin hahanapin yung deficit na $11 million?
Well, upon, si Secretary Angara, upon knowing yung decision ng US government, nagsabi na siya na i-map na natin yung mga critical activities na funded by the US government at hanapan natin ng pondo internally sa DepEd kasi may mga programs tayo na complete na pero may savings. Parang ganoon. So pinupul namin yung mga savings na yun at hopefully magamit namin dito. And pangalawa, naghahanap po tayo ng mga bagong partners na pwedeng sumalo dito sa kakulangan because of the decision of the US government.
So far, will you be able to tell us how much in savings you have that you can possibly put dito sa mga programs na may
Right now,
kulang na
hinahanap
11
pa namin
million?
yung savings. Pero definitely, mayroon po tayong makikitang savings at yung iba na mga continuing funds, yung mga hindi naubos nung 2024 at naitawid sa 2025, we call it continuing funds. So ito, baka may mahanap tayo na pwedeng sumalo sa mga activities
Okay.
na
That needs to be addressed at the soonest possible time because these programs will run till 2026, di
Yep.
ho ba? Of course, after that 90-day period, we'll find out kung maibibigay pa sa atin yung pera o hindi. However, my question, sir, is moving forward, are these the same projects that can be funded again after 2026? For example, yung read, at yung para po sa the deaf and the blind.
Apo.
Meron ho bang, sabihin natin, after 2 years, ganun din yung binibigay at ina-allocate na pera doon sa mga ganung klaseng programa?
Well, ang kagandahan ngayon, Pinky, kasi nasa middle of kami ngayon, budget preparation for 2026. So definitely itong mga bagay na ito, itong mga naiwanan na ito, ilalagay namin ito sa 2026 budget. Sigurado po yan kasi kanina galing lang ako doon sa budget deliberation namin.
Okay.
Hinahanapan namin ng bahay itong mga programa na to. Within the line item of DepEd.
Right. So hopefully, maipasok po siya sa budget next year.
Yes po.
Okay. Sir, yesterday I had also Mark Yino of EDCOM too. Very interesting. All the recommendations. This is again, EDCOM is a group, tama ho ba, that was mandated by law to look into the status, the problems, and the concern of the educational system in the country. And this is their second year. And they came up with
A report.
recommendations and a report, a book this thick, that basically gave about 100, how many was it? 114 recommendations. Ganun ho kadami.
Oo. Yeah.
Pero ang sabi po ni Mark, hindi naman po talaga kaya lahat because the funds are limited. Priority must be set. He named 3, sir. He identified 3. Yung problema po sa mga kababayan natin na stunted. Ibig sabihin, what he said is this is the first one. 1 out of 4 Filipinos are stunted, meaning they are not getting the right nutrition in their first 1,000 days. Let's talk about this first, sir. What will the DepEd do in terms of this first recommendation coming from EDCOM 2?
Well, yung first 1,000 days, nagsisimula yan sa DOH eh. So, 1-year-old to 2-year-old, nasa DOH yan. Pagdating ng 3-year-old and 4, ECCD na siya, early childhood education na siya. So, mayroong feeding program dito dati, yung DSWD, pero medyo limited yung scope niya. Sa DepEd, mayroon po tayong feeding program, school-based feeding program din, na ina-address nga po yung stunting, lalo na yung wasting natin. So, ang usapan namin is that kailangang madugtong magkaroon ng continuum mula dito sa ECCD,
DOH, right?
sa DOH, sa ECCD, tapos dito sa DepEd, yung feeding program.
In other words, what you're saying is there has to be more coordination from the DOH that takes care of 0 to 2 and the DepEd that takes care of 2 to 4. Tama ho ba?
Yung 2 to 3 po is, 3 to 4 is ECCD Council. Tapos yung...
What council is that?
Early Childhood Care and Development Council.
Which is under?
Under po siya, attached agency po siya sa DepEd.
Okay. So DepEd pa rin po.
DepEd pa rin siya.
So 0 to 2 and then 3 to 4. Nagkukulang ho ba, would you say, ng alignment, continuity, cohesiveness between the two? Dito po sa pagdating sa 0, let's just talk about it, the first 1,000 days, sir.
Tingin ko naman, mayroong coordination kasi member naman ng council yung DOH. Member din ng council yung ibang agency na tumututok sa kapakanan ng mga kabataan. So, baka mayroon kailangan strengthen coordination. Tapos, siyempre, kailangan yung budget medyo tumutugma rin. For example, pag umalis na doon sa 2, pumunta ng 3.
Tama po.
Kailangan mayroon na ring sasalon na programa
Yeah.
doon sa ECCD when it comes to education,
Okay.
child development. And then, sa DepEd naman, nakaabang po yung kindergarten. So, ang gusto po namin maging seamless yung transition ng yung age 4 na papasok ng age 5, which is kinder.
Next one is early childhood education. Basically, it's important to have access to early education for formal schooling. Ibig sabihin, I guess this is the 3 years old, the
3 to 4,
year olds, no? Bago po talaga sila tumungtong sa, ano ho ba, kinder.
Kinder po.
Opo. So, how do you plan to address this? Because what Mark was saying, which I learned yesterday, that LGUs, I don't know if they're mandated, if that would be the right word.
Yes po.
But there are supposed to be daycares, hindi ho ba, sa bawat barangay na ang nag-o-oversee ay ang LGU. Now, the problem that will arise here is that if they do not have, they are not financially capable, that will probably be one of their last priorities, hindi ho ba?
Yes po.
How can this be addressed?
Yeah, yung kaibahan ng sa DepEd saka itong sa ECCD, yung ECCD is devolved to LGU po talaga. Yung DepEd is nationally implemented. So, national ang budget, pero itong ECCD is devolved sa LGU. Siyempre po, didepende siya sa income ng LGU kung paano niya popondohan yung needs noong ECCD. So, ang pinaka-basic po dyan, kailangan may access. Mayroon po dapat Child Development Center ang bawat barangay. Pero right now, wala lang akong data, pero hindi lahat ng barangay mayroong Child Development Center. And then, ang mga teacher dito na nagtuturo, hindi po sila, kagaya ng teacher sa DepEd na license, no? Ito yung mga, minsan may mga volunteers, mga high school graduates na tinitrain naman sila bago magturo sa mga kabataan. So, hopefully ma-professionalize itong mga teachers natin sa ECCD kasi this is the formative years, no?
Exactly.
Na kailangang yung magtuturo dito ay marunong po talaga.
And there has to be really some sort of coordination, sir, between the DepEd and the LGU. Kasi parang kanya-kanya po ito eh. And then if they're just hiring volunteers who really have no professional background o hindi talaga inaral po ito, kung sinasabi niyo po itong formative years, that's where we need to start. In the same token that the 0 to 4 years old, or the first 1,000 days, government should really focus on nutritional needs. And lastly, let's talk about this. Students should be able to read and comprehend bago po sila dumating sa grade 4 dahil mukhang may problema daw dito. In fact, he was saying there's a UNICEF study that is about to be published where it says that a grade 4 student in the Philippines is behind 2 to 3 years. Ibig sabihin ng grade 4 student, parang nasa grade 1 lang po.
Correct po. So, ito po yung sinasabi ni E.D. Carroll na foundation, fixing the foundation po. Nagsisimula po talaga yan sa ECCD. So, kung paano natin inilagaan yung bata, yung 3 to 4, at paano siya pumasok dito sa kindergarten. So, bali po ang nakikita namin, pagpasok ng bata sa kindergarten, kulang na kulang po talaga ng parang competencies doon para maging ready siya sa kindergarten. So, kailangan pong ma-fix talaga yung ability ng bata to read and write.
How do you find the findings of EDCOM 2?
Well, good thing about EDCOM is that may sinasabi niya na yung based on naman to research naman tong ginawa nila. Karamihan dito alam naman ng DepEd na ganito yung problem, pero na-highlight lang at mayroong data which we appreciate po because we know what to do. And then I think yung mga reforms na kailangan gawin because of that report ay mga legislation. So, for example, kailangan bang i-legislate yung universal feeding program, ganon, kasama yung grade 6, ganon. So itong mga reform packages na ito, based on the recommendation of EDCOM, pwede po siyang maging DepEd policy lang or kaya legislation.
Pwedeng gawan ng batas.
Ng batas.
No? Para it can be implemented nationwide, kumbaga. All right, maraming salamat kay DepEd Assistant Secretary Roger Masapol. Sir, thank you so much for your time.
Maraming salamat.
And that's On Point. Join us again tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching.